Welcome to Machine God Eats, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Darling. I kind of got a heavy topic for y'all today. We all know that our time here is limited, like as humans, right? Here on this earth, we only got so much time here as individuals. I think most of us can accept that. We can accept the fact that, all right, my time can come at any day and I have to take advantage of all of life's gifts and blessings and delicacies while I'm here, because time is limited. All right, we understand that when it comes to ourselves, but I think it's harder for us to deal with the fact that the people that we care about, their time is limited too. And at any time, at any day, they can go. At any time, at any day, God can call them home. And that's hard to deal with. That's harder to deal with than dealing with the fact that you're mortal and you know that eventually you're gonna get up out of here. It's harder to deal with the fact that you know that your mom's gonna die. That everybody you know one day will die. Everybody. And you kind of hope that you go before everybody. At least I do. I hope I go before everybody that I love, right? I hope that I don't ever have to experience the grief of seeing my, especially when it comes to my children or anybody pass before me. That would be something that I don't know how I would be able to deal with. But even when you lose a parent, let's say, that's very difficult to deal with. I wasn't very close to my father, but when he died, I felt a lot of sorrow, okay? Grief and sorrow, mostly because we didn't have a relationship. I didn't reach out to have a relationship with him, and he was gone before I had the opportunity to do so. So in me, there was a lot of guilt and a lot of sorrow in my grief when it came to him dying, because he's my father, okay? And I can only imagine that if I was closer to him, how hard it would have been for me to deal with his death, especially in the time, which was the beginning of last year, when he passed away. I'm bringing this up because the lady I'm seeing, she recently lost her mom. She lost her mom at the beginning of this month, and she's dealing with a lot of grief and sorrow right now. And a lot of times she's very hard on herself about her grief. And I'm like, you have to give yourself grace. You have to give yourself compassion before anything, because you lost your mom. Losing your mom, losing the bedrock of your existence, because that's what your mother is. Your mother is the bedrock of your existence, right? Your mother, birthed you into this world. Your mother nurtures you, if you're lucky, until adulthood. Your mother's gonna love you more than any other woman on this planet is ever gonna love you, okay? And that goes for males and females, right? So when you lose your mother, of course grief is gonna take you. It's gonna be hard to deal with. And with her, and I hope she don't mind me telling this, she's also inherited a lot of responsibility, okay? You never know when somebody's gonna go. From the her mom was diagnosed about 6 months ago with cancer, and from that point on to now, it was just, she went so quick. It came and went so quick. And so even dealing with the fact that she was gone so quick is a lot. But how do you deal with grief? How do you deal with knowing that you can never have a conversation with the person that you care for that much? How do you deal with the fact that that person was probably in some, like, maybe not financially, maybe not directly, but subconsciously and spiritually, that person was your anchor, right? Your mother, your parents, you lose them, it's like you lose a part of reality. You feel me? And so you have to give yourself some time to fucking grieve. And that means if you have to take off work, that means if you have to isolate yourself, that means if you have to see somebody and speak to somebody, that's what you have to do. Grief changes you from almost like when you lose somebody, sometimes I think it changes you on a structural level, all the way down to like your cells, okay? When you lose somebody, especially like a mother or a parent or a child, you're not the same person after they're gone. I'm not saying that you won't be able to deal with the grief eventually and it won't get easier, but things are gonna fundamentally change, like, because that person is not there. That person, like I say, that anchor isn't there. I've seen it happen multiple times. I've seen it with my mother. My mother and my grandmother had a contentious relationship. okay? My mother was always there for my grandmother, regardless of the fuck shit my grandma would say or put my mom through. And I admire my mom for that. That's what I do, I really do. She was there to the very, literally to the very freaking end at my grandma's bedside when she passed. My mom came home, my uncle was there. He was at the table studying Arabic because he's like a Muslim and all that. And she came into the door, she came home from work and she was like, Grandma died. And I remember her having this look of sorrow on her face. And I remember my uncle, he stopped writing and he had the same look, this look of sorrow. Like, almost like you didn't know what the next move was. And for me, I didn't know what to say. The only thing I could think to do was to go in there, get in the bath, and wash my body down with soap. I don't know why I did that, you know. I just didn't know what to say. I know that both my mom and my uncle had just lost their mom. And I know that I could see on their faces that, you know, it was my grandma. I love my grandma too, but that was their mom. You know, my grandma was the matriarch of our family. And for her to be gone, that was like a bedrock for our entire bloodline, right? And that sent my mom into a cycle of sorrow and depression that she had to deal with for some time. That's when she started dealing with her boyfriend, Jimmy, and we were staying in my grandma's house at the time. My mom couldn't be in that house. She didn't want to be in that house because my grandma was there, and that house signified my grandma. So me and my brother, for the most part, she would come and get us from school and then drop us off, and then we would just be there. And she dealt with that up until my cousin Jesse Powell came to Milwaukee and was like, you know what? Y'all need to come to California with us. Right? You know, my mom went through a lot of change after my grandma died. She really did. And the same thing with my kid's mom after her dad died. My father-in-law, I was very close to him. I was closer to him than I was to my own father. So it was a lot of grief in that. And my kid's mother's outlook on life, just her essence changed after Sandy died. Her and her mom, you know, and I don't blame them for that. I don't. You know, I have pictures of obviously my kid's mom, and I have pictures of us before her dad died, and then I have pictures afterwards, and you can literally see on her the sorrow. You can see it. You can literally see what grief has done to her. And I'm not saying that's in a bad way. I'm saying just in the way it matures you, the way it changes you spiritually, because like I say, the person that you relied on as an anchor in this world, and trust me, even Sandy, my grandma, these were anchors, these are pillars of these families, right? And when they're gone, it's like, oh shit, they're gone, and it comes out of nowhere. And like I say, you can almost accept the fact that, okay, I'll walk out the door one day, I may not come back. But it's hard to think about that with somebody that you love. It's hard to think about that for somebody that you really care about and you never want to see go. That's it right there. You know, and sometimes you can even mourn people that are still here. You can mourn the fact that you can never have a relationship with people that you crave to have relationships with because of whatever reason. Personalities, distance, time, personality, whatever it may be. Did somebody take a shit right there? Somebody took a whole dookie. Oh my God, Vegas. You can have you know what I'm saying? You can mourn people that are still here because they're either not the person that you could either be around, right? Or y'all just can never have that relationship. It's kind of like I say, the same relationship I had with my father. It's almost like mourning a person that's still here. It's like almost like I accepted the fact that we were never gonna have a relationship while he was here. At least I thought I did until he died. You can mourn people that are still here. You can mourn people that are still here because they, you know, like I say, distance. They could be in jail. It could be something that they did. They can have changed so much that being around them isn't healthy for you. So you mourn the relationship that y'all once had. Oh shit! I'm trying to juggle my helmet and this camera, so y'all gotta forgive me. There's all types of mourning people, right? But I think it's just hardest when somebody passes and you know that you can never talk to them again. I think that's the most difficult to deal with. You know what I'm saying? I dread, you know, like I don't ever want to see my mom go, ever. But at the same time, I know she don't ever want to see me go. So it's like this like juggle. Like, you know what I mean? Like I know she don't want to see her kids go, just like I don't ever want to see my kids go. This life is cruel in that way. But I'm gonna tell you what I believe in dealing with grief. Obviously, dealing with grief, like I said, you could take some time off. You could talk to somebody. You can drown your sorrows in alcohol and pills or drugs or whatever. But one of the best ways I've felt that I've dealt with grief is to talk to God, to understand that, you know, we all return to the source one day, and that the end of this life is the end of your suffering, the end of human suffering. You know, I know some people have religions that believe, oh, I'm gonna go and burn in hell and all that, you know, all right, whatever. But I believe that when, you know, you leave this life, if you transition into another life, the suffering that you have here is gone. I don't believe that God could be so cruel to like have people suffer for eternity for a blip in time that they spent here on earth. I think that's ridiculous. I think that's man-made garbage that the church came up with in order to manipulate people to come. But that's just me. A relationship with God is personal. And when you're going through grief and you're talking about why this and why that, or you want to talk to the people that are no longer here, you can talk to them through God, and God hears you. I know people say, well, he's not answering back. That nigga didn't say shit to me. He hears you. It's just the way you listen, you know. It's in the signs and in the things that are presented to you. And you have to ask him to alleviate that pain from you, to help ease it, because it'll never completely go away, right? You know, and then, you know, sometimes even when you're younger, when you're super young and you lose somebody, it changes you even more. Obviously, it shapes you. For me, when I was young, I didn't lose anybody in that way, but we did move. Like I say, when we lost my grandma, eventually my cousin came out and we left Milwaukee. But I had a life there at the time. I had a kitty cat named Kirby. I had a best friend named Justin. I had a school that I liked. It was a lot that I had that I at least felt like I had. And we abruptly, because when Jack, we called him Jack, when Jack came out to Milwaukee to do his tour, we weren't expecting to go back with him. So it was like literally instant, right? It was like, y'all come back with us. Like, we gonna put y'all on the bus. Well, we was gonna get on the Greyhound in Gary. So we left Milwaukee, so Wisconsin, went to Gary to see my father. And to be honest with you, that was the last time I ever saw my father. That was the last day I saw my father. I was 13 years old. We went to his house, the house I grew up in. We spent the night there. He got off work. He came in, he was super happy. He went and got my brother. And we spent the night with them. And that was the last night I saw my dad. That's crazy. And then we came out to California, and I think that experience shaped who I was, because I was just such a dark kid and mentally in a dark place. You know, even as an adult, I'm still like that. And my attachment style is I'm very protective on how I get attached to people. Anybody that knows me knows I only keep a couple people in my circle at a time. I'm like a goddamn Sith Lord. I'm very protective of my energy, not because I'm afraid that people will betray me or I'm afraid of people hurting me. I don't worry about that type of stuff that much. I'm more so afraid of losing them. I'm afraid I'll be so attached to them that one day the friendship will end, or, you know, like, we won't have, you know what I'm saying, I'll miss that. Because like even with some of my exes, I don't feel like we shouldn't be friends just because we're not together no more. Like, that's just how I feel. Like, we don't have to be a couple to have been friends, because at one point we were friends and we discussed things and we talked and we were cool, you know what I mean? Like, just because we're not fucking no more don't mean we can't be friends, and I don't like that, you know? And that's why I'm like, I mean, that's obviously like a relationship type thing, but I'm just saying, just in general, I'm that way, you know what I mean? I'm very guarded with my energy when it comes to like people, because I don't be wanting to lose them, you know what I'm saying? I don't keep a lot of friends, you know what I'm saying? Like I say, it goes to that whole thing of what I was saying about mourning people while they're here. But as long as we're here, we're gonna, you know, we're gonna lose people and we're gonna lose things. Things you can replace. That's what they always say. You can always go to the store and buy something else. Can't replace people. But people's essence in their life, us as mortals, wouldn't be as special or as beautiful as we are if it lasted forever. Everything is meant to change. Every flower is meant to bloom, wither, and die. And that includes us humans too. It's a difficult cycle. You know, sometimes you wish you had like the cognition of an animal who could grieve in the moment and then move on with life, but we're not made that way. We're made to reminisce about the dead. We're made to honor the dead. and we're made to carry their legacies on with us as long as we're here. The essence and the spirit of who they are lives through us. Nobody ever completely dies because energy just transfers. The effects that they had on the people here transfers into the great beyond, into this time and beyond that, because it's like a ripple effect in a pond. You know, you throw something, you throw it in there, it ripples. That's why I say you try to do good in life, so good things ripple throughout this reality. If you're dealing with grief, y'all, talk to God. If you're dealing with grief, you know what I'm saying, talk to God. That's my best, you know what I'm saying, work out. Stay busy too. Make sure you stay busy. Stay busy if you can. But don't stay so busy that you burn yourself out and you don't give yourself time and grace to grieve. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are if you are dealing with grief, I hope that this video gave you some little bit of comfort or something. I don't know. I just wanted to discuss it without, you know, sounding like a airbag, you know, because like, you know, when my girl is going through her grief, or whenever somebody's going through their grief, I prefer to just listen and not just be popping my gums off. I just want to hear what they got to say. With that being said, y'all, I'll catch y'all next time. Bye-bye.